Every Microsoft customer, even if you don't work at a big enterprise, now has powerful AI right at their fingertips. And that's because of a few announcements from Microsoft this past week. First up is that the company recently announced Copilot Pro, which is a new subscription that gives individuals and creators access to Microsoft's AI assistant in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook. So for $20 a month, you can turn on Copilot Pro within your existing Microsoft 365 personal or family subscription. So this is for individuals, and it instantly gives you the ability to use AI to do things like generate PowerPoint decks using text prompts, write and rewrite content automatically in Word, write and reply to emails automatically in Outlook, and start analyzing data and generating graphs in Excel. So now there are three tiers or versions of Copilot now that we have this announcement of Copilot Pro. One is a free version of Copilot that functions like a ChatGPT like AI assistant. The second is Copilot Pro, which we just talked about, which is specifically for individuals. And then the third is kind of what we referenced in the past when it comes to Copilot, which is called Copilot for Microsoft 365. This is the existing business license for companies and teams. And this last point is important because in addition to announcing Copilot Pro, Microsoft made a big change to business licenses. Previously, you had to purchase a minimum of 300 seats to get Copilot access for your company. However, that minimum is now gone. That means you can purchase any number of seats now under 300, opening this up to any business that's interested. So, Paul, I want to kick things off and ask if you can kind of give us an overview of what your thoughts are on Copilot Pro specifically, and kind of how you see this fitting into the overall picture of Microsoft's Copilot offerings.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the biggest news here is really that they democratized it for everybody else that isn't a big enterprise. So, now if you're an individual, personal Microsoft 365 user, you have it for your family, or you're a small business, you can go get it. It certainly seems like the timing of this uh, was very closely tied to ChatGPT Team coming out, which also opened it up to businesses under 150 seats. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's the kind of technology we've been talking about for months. I mean, they announced that this was coming. I think it was March of 2023. They sort of previewed what was coming. And then in November, the Copilot technology rolled out into 365 for companies with 300 or more seats. And now everyone else is starting to get the technology. So I think the biggest news is really just the availability now for everyone to have this capability for $20 per month.
So, for some of the businesses that are kind of just getting up to speed here now that they have access to Copilot, which of the features in Copilot for businesses specifically kind of jump out to you as particularly interesting to maybe explore further to enhance productivity?
For me, I've always been waiting to see how the integration with Excel and PowerPoint work. And then the same on the Google side, how it works with sheets and slides.
Hmm.
Because I think we all, we can experience ChatGPT and get a general sense of how it's going to work in Microsoft Word or Google Docs. We understand how it creates and edits and simplifies and summarizes and all the things it does there. But I think for a lot of people, especially people who haven't played around with Code Interpreter, or now known as advanced data analysis in ChatGPT, you don't really realize what its capabilities are going to be within spreadsheets. And a lot of marketers, a lot of business people spend a lot of time in Excel and in Google Sheets. And the reality is that many of us probably just sort of like hack our way through and don't ever really take the time to become extremely adept power users. Even though there's probably tons of efficiencies to be gained. Like I always joke about, like, if I never have to build a pivot table again, I will be happy. Like if I can just ask a question of Excel or Sheets and it does all the building for me, that would be amazing. Um, from what I've seen online so far, responses are sort of like lukewarm about how people perceive the value of the current version of Copilot to be within Excel and within PowerPoint.
Hmm.
But, I think the key is like it doesn't have to go from 0 to 100 in terms of its capabilities or, in terms of how well it automates a process for you. I think for a lot of business and even personal users, it's just going to be those incremental gains where you ask it to create a PowerPoint for you based on a document and it does like 60% of the work. Maybe the design's not beautiful. Maybe you need to like go in and edit all the notes, but maybe you save yourself the front end 2 hours of just getting the information in there. And as we've talked about before, just that where it gives you a really reasonable first draft, or it does an initial analysis of a data set that saves you 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, or does the work you would have had to have gotten someone else in your company to help you with. That's that can be transformational without being insanely high quality AI.
Hmm. So if I'm a company that's now interested in kind of exploring Copilot, but I haven't done so yet, haven't really looked too much into it, like what should I be thinking about next? How should I be approaching this?
I think again, you and I, when we were even prepping for this, it's like, what is, what are, everything just called Copilot now at Microsoft. And I mean, we use Microsoft, we use Docs and Excel at times, but we're largely a Google shop. So I'm not as aware of like all the different nomenclatures for everything. It's like, is Google Suite or is Microsoft Suite Microsoft 365? Is that also Office? And I know they changed the naming conventions years ago. Um, but anyway, so my feeling is I think the thing that we all have to decide is, okay, I'm already paying for ChatGPT Team. Like, as the Institute, I've talked about this before. I got that for us as soon as it came out. So that's $30 a month. We experimented with Duet AI from Google for
Mm,
25 or $30 a month, which I put on hold until the updated version comes out and it improves. But we do also use Microsoft. So do we need Microsoft 365 Copilot if we already have ChatGPT Team? And then if you're a bigger company, maybe you have Jasper or Writer. And it's like it starts to get really complex and there's going to be a lot of overlap of capabilities. And so I think for most business users, the question is going to become, if we go all in on Copilot, do we need these other tools anymore? Or is this actually going to consolidate our tech stack a little bit?
mm,
And it's probably too early to tell, honestly. Like, I think 2024 is going to be a big year of probably experimenting with a collection of tools and not settling on anything and thinking you're set, because it's just going to keep evolving. And I think a lot of companies and a lot of leaders I've talked to aren't ready to commit to a platform for the next 12 months. They really just want to keep experimenting with the different solutions.